You know, engineers typically will design things for the worst case scenario. And I've kind of wondered about this with the floor. Why are there screws through these flat straps every 3 or 4 inches, and then they have rivets to the mainframe? But I got to wondering, if this carries 9 passengers through the course of the body, 2 more up there with the driver, but if they weighed 200 pounds apiece, that could be 1,800 pounds on that floor if everybody stood up at the same time, which they're not. But worst case scenario, what if they all stood up at the same time? So we want a pretty secure floor. And the first thing I need to do is straighten out these flat straps so I can start assembling these and secure that floor to the mainframe. So I should be able to put on my straps that go underneath these floorboards. They get screwed to the main frame, that vertical frame, and then there's some long rivets that actually get put in here as well. But on this back end here, where these irons come up, there's a set of 3 hinge irons for the rear boot that carried the luggage that come up and kind of intersect with this a bit. The hole in this iron comes up about through the center somewhere of this cross frame, so it overlaps these irons. So these irons have to actually be recessed down in so that the top here is flush with the wood, and so that this iron can come up over top of that. Remember, on these center 2 irons on that old rear frame that I have as well shows that. You see how they've been notched in so that when this other iron comes over, this screw would be about right here. Well, these overlap a little bit, so these are recessed in to accommodate that. And this is the hinge iron for the rear boot that's on the other side, still fastened in place, and you can see where this iron is going to come up underneath, so it needs to be recessed so this iron can come over on top of that side strap iron. And it can make this progressive change where it can be on the surface and then come down and be recessed. So somewhere in here we need to make that transition and bury this down into this framework. And of course, both sides, I don't have my 2 new ones for the center made quite yet, but I can do these 2 at this time. So this corner in the iron needs to match up with the corner on my floorboard right here. And you can see I've got maybe a little bit of daylight there, but I've got 4 screws total here that are going to try to suck that up into place. But I want that as tight as possible. And then the challenge is to get this down tight up against the wood as well. Of course, this is all going to be screwed eventually. But by the time we get to the other end, I want this corner to match up with the front corner of my floorboard. And it's close, but it could move forward just a little bit. Really close. So just work that forward. Try to hold that in place. That gets us really close, just right there, huh? So I think it's close enough. If I start from the back end and start putting my screws in, it should work this iron forward. And I'm close here. If I gained a little bit, that would actually be a good thing. Well, a little bit of a challenge is going to be a 1/4-inch rivet that goes through this iron here in 4 different locations. One here, 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 and here. And this is a 6-inch long rivet. Well, this vertical frame is only 1 inch wide, just like this iron here. So I have to drill this through 6 inches and come out center on the other side. So I'm going to just try to transfer the center to the other side. Because I'm going to drill halfway from both directions. Get this drawn across. So it's a challenge when you have to go that deep, but I have a pretty small margin of error. So hopefully that works. So I'm going to go halfway or a little bit past halfway from this direction. Then I'm going to have to turn the thing over and come in from the other direction. Well, that's the last step in making sure that these floorboards are secure to the frame. I still have 2/8 by 1 straps that are going to go down the center about a foot apart, and that'll stabilize all these joints so when all the passengers stand up they have a secure footing. Making some headway. Appreciate you coming along. Thanks for watching.